Good morning. The day has finally arrived that we are able to plant the cypress trees, and I am now showing you how that goes. So here we have the excavator that we use for planting. There's still a pile of dirt that came out of the trench, and the trench is this here. So the technique has been to dig a big hole, a trench, and make it deep, probably some 1.50 meters, 2 meters deep, and then backfill again so that we have some loosen up soil. This is hard as concrete, and the idea is to allow the roots to go into the ground, and then the tree can grow. Of course, there will be irrigation in a moment also. And here Angel and friend have started to plant. They are still using the post hole digger to make the planting hole, and also a shovel, and that way they are being planted here, 30 in a row, to form a windbreak evenly spaced. The moment has also come to put this electrical cable up. This little loop here is still temporary because it needs to go that way, and for that more installation needs to happen. But it is now tied to the top of each post, and I think this is how we can leave it. It is now out of the way. The cable is resistant to UV light, so it shouldn't be a big problem. And this should serve us for a while. I'm also in the process of rebuilding that fence in a different way, but show you that later when I'm a little bit further along. And over there the trees are planted and almost done. Next is then the irrigation. It appears that this will be 15. They are spaced 2 meters apart, so that the wind can blow through, get turbulent and slow down. And it's not a wall where the wind might then break something because of the pressure buildup. And as I'm here, I can also show you how the pond is looking like. So right now we are irrigating at the Miyawaki forest, and at the same time you might see that to the right water is being pumped in. So basically what's being taken out is being refilled, same amount, and it's not looking that bad. So when we do not irrigate for a day, of course we fill it up again. So this seems to be holding good, and I doubt that we will pump this dry. So this is exactly as I envisioned it to be. So I'm very happy. And those flowery plants here, I think that's ragwort, and I have learned that this is poisonous to cattle and other ruminants. Of course nobody will eat it. So in a little while when I pass here I will knock it down, but right now I don't have a tool which I could use, and it will come back. Now that it is moister, we will have a lot more of that, I'm pretty sure. The neighbors don't have any, but their land has fallen dry, and therefore we get to cultivate this, unfortunately. So this is how we have it. That's 15 of them. Now the next step is the irrigation. The remaining cypress trees we will use in the farmyard. There are also places that need protection from the wind, and they are going to be planted there. I also just cut down a little bit here with that weed eater, and the interesting thing is there's a lot of Bermuda grass that is coming up in between, and now it gets a little bit more light, and that should help it, because that is one part of the plan. The idea is to have here an area that's full of Bermuda grass, and that should help to get roots in the ground, because it will search for the water that is right next to this area here. So if we help it a little bit from above, it might step by step, and also with the help of bacteria, penetrate the soil here and eventually create a connection. The plan is also to have a lot of shrubs here, flowering shrubs. I ordered some, but they weren't available, and so did the supplier say the bag of the Bermuda grass that I wanted to seed here in this area was also not available. They said from February on. Okay, that makes sense. Not everybody does it at this time of the year, so they were sold out. But the idea is to have this area, this corner here basically, which is unproductive from other points of view, but I think we can have flowering shrubs here, and then this might become a good spot for beehives, and they have the food right next door. So I'm looking forward to trying out that. And as you can see, the guys are currently installing the irrigation system, so that these wobblers wet the trees, but also the area to the left of the line, because that should also thrive and become more interesting. And then we have the Sunheb and Friends here to the other side, and that should then become a nice system. Good evening. I seized the opportunity to cut a little bit in here to lighten this up, and that should then allow us to add the missing wobblers. There are 2 missing, or maybe 3. So over there, that one should go in that direction, and then there's one over there in that point, and this area should be covered, and also here in the corner. So there will be certainly at least 6 in here, maybe even 7, to cover this completely. We will see tomorrow when we do this. And the idea is, by chop and drop, to build soil, because all this stuff, despite the fact that you can consider them wheat, they are pioneer species. Their job is to exist and be added to the soil as biomass. And that is basically what I'm doing in rapid succession. And it requires water. So therefore, the idea is to water the weeds so that they grow and there is enough material. The Paulownia trees are growing very well. They have overcome the initial struggle, and they are looking very nice, especially in that late afternoon sun. There are still a few like this one here that are lacking a little bit behind, but you can see the leaves are already big, and soon that will also thrive. And there's even the little guy here. So this is not wrong the way it is. And of course, the more they grow on the top, the more they grow on the bottom also. And therefore, this whole thing is developing. This looks a little bit sad, but maybe it wants to come back. The color of the trunk tells me that it might. There's also this one here that looked extremely sad, but you can see it does have new leaves at the bottom. So as long as it gets light, and therefore I was cutting, this will grow into a tree. I show you that here from the other side. I'm using this rotating knife on the tool, and it also chops them a little bit into small pieces. There I didn't use that because there I can hit something that I don't want to hit. So there I will then use the string trimmer the next time. And the Bermuda grass is taking over, which is also biomass. This is supposed to become a garden eventually, but for that we need the trees to be higher and provide shade, and all the while something else should grow. And then we make little rows so that we can grow some food. It's a step-by-step process, but we are building our soil. And here is also a little bit of a low that needs to be filled with some dirt. The next time we move earth somewhere, we can then also fill this.